morning, everyone. Yes, welcome to the session From Practice to Policy, Transforming K-12 Education, Classrooms through School Libraries. My name is BEXCO, and I'm very pleased to be your moderator for today's session. The session is presented by the Korea School Library Association, or KSLA. Before we begin, I would like to introduce Deokju Lee, representative of the Korean School Library Association. He represents teacher librarians across Korea and works to promote their educational role and support their professional development. I would like to invite Deokju Lee to give a few opening remarks. Please welcome Deokju Lee.
Welcome from around the world and welcome to our proud Korean school librarian teachers who made this big event happen. Today, we went to share a wonderful success story of school libraries in South Korea. Korea went through very hard time, including a war long ago, but our country grew strong and bright. Our school libraries grew together with our country after the war, so they stepped up to become our first school librarian teachers. Tomorrow, August 17th, is a very special day. It is the 62nd birthday of South Korea's school librarian teachers system. In fact, Korea started giving certifications to school librarians teachers even before general librarians. At first, it's not easy for school librarian teacher to settle down in school. But as our country grew, more and more school librarian teachers came to work at schools. Today, our school librarian teachers play a big role in changing education for the better. Of course, we had some time too. For a long time and now, some people asked, do school really need school librarian teachers? Hearing those words and sad and hopeful, but looking back, I want to say thank you to those people. Why? Because their work made us work much harder to show why we are needed. Thanks to them, we grew stronger and today we offer even better help to our students. This event is extra special to me. 20 years ago, at the Seoul WLIC, only 2 school librarians teachers came. But today, here at the Busan WLIC, more than 50 school librarian teachers are here with us. I believe that 10 years from now, the Korean school librarian teachers here today will be great leaders in Korea and all over the world, IFLA, IASA. We want to share our stories and best ideas with the whole world. Today is the very first step of the exciting journey. Thank you so much to everyone who is joining us today.
We have 3 presentations today, and each presentation will take under 15 minutes. Now let's begin with our first presentation. Our first presentation is Eunhyun Kim. The title of the presentation is From Citizens to Movement National Policy. Korean School Libraries from 2000 to 2026. This presentation will introduce the development of Korean school libraries over the past 25 years from citizens movement to national policy and reading education. Okay, please welcome Eunhyun Kim.
Good morning. My name is Eunhyun Kim from Korea School Library Association. I'm the first speaker in this session. Today, I would like to look at the development of Korea school libraries from 2000 to 2026. I will focus on 3 things: public demand, government policy, and the development of our profession. In 2006, IFLA came to Korea. It was held in Seoul. 20 years later, IFLA is back in Korea, this time in Busan. This is also a good moment to look back on about 25 years of development in Korean school libraries. There has been major progress, especially in infrastructure and policy. Some important challenges remain. Let me begin with one number, 116. In 2001, Korea had only 116 teacher librarians nationwide. At the time, there were more than 10,000 schools. At that time, many schools had a space called a school library, but many of them did not have a teacher librarian. The library was often closed to students, so they could not freely enter and use it. In many cases, it was mainly a place to store books. One important feature of Korean experience is where the demand first came from. It did not begin mainly within our profession. It did not begin with the government either. In 2000, parents, writers, publishers, and civic organizations formed a national coalition. They launched a campaign to collect 1 million signatures to strengthen school libraries. Our association also took part, but the broader demand first came from civil society. The government eventually responded to this public demand. Beginning in 2003, the government invested about 300 billion won over 5 years. This was Korea's first national school library policy. About 1,000 schools received support each year. At this stage, the main focus was clear: to renovate and improve physical library spaces. Over time, school library infrastructure expanded dramatically. Today, Korea has 11,883 school libraries in about 98% of all schools. Compared with the only 2000s, this is major change. Today, almost every school has a physical library. The next 3 slides show some examples of school library spaces in Korea today. This is Iri Middle School in Jeonju. And this is Songguk Girls High School in Seoul. And this is Changwon Myeongji Girls High School in Jeonnam. These examples show how school library spaces have developed across Korea. They are bright, open, accessible, and designed for students. So Korea has also developed a national guide for school library design and planning. If you are interested in seeing more examples, you can find them through this QR code. Uploading and improving library spaces did not automatically mean hiring professionals. In the autumn in 2005, there was concern that no new teacher librarian positions would be created the following year. Teacher librarians, library and information science students, and parents came together and held a rally in Central Seoul. They called for more teacher librarian positions. This effort continued for several years and helped keep the issue on the policy agenda. Then, in 2018, a major institutional change came. The 2018 revision marked an important legal change. Before the revision, the law described the staffing as a possibility. After the revision, it became a requirement. In other words, the law changed from possibility to requirement. A policy target was also set: teacher librarians in 50% of schools by 2030. After the legal change, recruitment increased for several years. There were 163 new positions in 2019, and the number rose to more than 200 per year. But the recruitment fell sharply. In 2023, there were only about 37 new positions. So where are we now? As I said earlier, about 98% of Korean schools have a school library, but there are only 0.29 full-time teacher librarians per school library nationwide. In simple terms, this is about 3 full-time teacher librarians for every 10 school libraries. So, library infrastructure has developed much faster than full-time professional staffing. But the development of our profession cannot be measured by staffing number alone. Teacher librarians have continued to develop professional practice in schools. At the center of this work is the student. Teacher librarians support students in reading, learning, and accessing information. We also support teachers and contribute directly to teaching and learning. Let me give you 3 examples. My colleague will discuss this in more detail. First, curriculum, a school library curriculum and approved textbook. Second, 서로이음, a collection of book reviews written by teacher librarians across the country from 2020 to 2026. And third, teaching, reading, media and information literacy, and support for student learning. This work also extends beyond our profession. Recently, more than 30 organizations signed a joint statement on school library policy. They included library associations, teacher organizations, civic groups, and researchers. School library policy has never been the work of teacher librarians alone. This broader cooperation has continued into the most recent stage of our work, policy. In 2026, Korea elected 17 education superintendents, one for each region. This shaped regional education policy, including staffing and educational programs for the next 4 years. Before the election, organizations working in and around school libraries developed a set of reading and school library policy proposals. We presented them to candidates across all 17 regions. Presently, these proposals are around students. They are not only about our profession. They address book access, support for students who struggle with reading and information literacy in the age of AI. Increasing the number of digital librarians is part of this. But the broader goal is bigger. Every student should have meaningful access to books, information, and professional guidance. In this sense, a teacher librarian is a bridge between the student and the books and information they need. So, after about 25 years, where do we stand? We started with just 116 teacher librarians in 2001. Today, almost every school has a library. We have stronger institutional support, and our profession has continued to develop. But important challenges remain. Full-time teacher librarians are still limited, and their distribution is uneven. So this is not simply a story of building library spaces. It is also a story of how public demand become government policy and how our profession developed along the way. Our goal is simple. Every student should have access not only to a library and books, but also to professional support. My colleague will now look more closely at 3 areas: the curriculum and textbook, Soroium, and teaching. Thank you.
Now let's move on to our second presentation. Now our second presenter is Eunhyun Lee. The title of the presentation is Connecting the School Library Curriculum and Textbooks in Korea. This presentation will introduce how school library education in Korea is connected across K-12 levels through curricula, textbooks, and information literacy education. Please welcome Eunhyun Lee.
Hello everyone, I'm Eunhyun Lee. I'm a teacher librarian at Korea University Girls High School in Seoul. I also serve as a director of public relations for the Korea School Library Association. I participated in developing curriculum as a member of the Curriculum Development Committee. In this presentation, I'll look at the curriculum side of school library education in Korea. I'll introduce library and information life, show how learning develops from elementary to high school, and then look at how the curriculum connects to textbooks and classroom practice. The curriculum was published by the Korean Library Association and is aligned with Korea's current national curriculum. This work was developed over about 30 years. It began with information and media education for high school students. Over time, the work expanded to younger students and developed into a curriculum and textbook series. The current revision is part of that history, but it also responds to a very different information environment. Students now search, read, create, and share information in many more ways than before, and they even use AI in their daily lives. The change in the information environment is reflected in the curriculum. Books are still important, but students also work with video, image, online sources, digital content, data, and AI. The curriculum brings together 6 literacies: library, reading, visual, media, digital, and data, and AI literacy. These are not treated as 6 separate subjects. They are connected through a multi-literacies approach. The curriculum also follows the basic information process. Students find and access information, analyze and interpret it, and then use it to create or express something new. The same broad ideas continue across school levels. What changes is the level of independence. Elementary students begin with basic information skills and good habits. In middle school, they use those skills for more critical, collaborative, and problem-solving activities. By high school, students are expected to work with information more independently. So the curriculum does not simply add a new set of topics at each level. It helps students take more responsibility for how they find, use, and communicate information. Here is one example, learning about libraries. At first, the goal is simply to feel comfortable using the school library. As students get older, they begin to understand how materials are organized, how to use the library catalog, and how to find materials on their own. In middle school, the focus expands to different kinds of libraries and services. By high school, students also work with digital resources and AI-based library services. The topic stays familiar, but what students can do with it gradually changes. How this curriculum is taught depends on the school. A teacher librarian may teach directly. It can also be taught with a subject teacher. For example, a subject teacher may focus on the topic of a research project. The teacher librarian can then support students as they search, read, track sources, and analyze information. Inquiry is important here. Students are not judged only by the final product. The process of finding, evaluating, and using information also matters. Having a curriculum is one thing, using it in school is another. Korea's current national curriculum gives schools more flexibility. One example is school autonomy hours. This gives schools time to create new courses or activities that fit their own needs. At the high school level, Korea has also high school credit system. It gives students more choice in the courses they take. The Korea School Library Association is also developing a reading-focused curriculum called Library and Reading Life. The elementary curriculum is approved, which I brought today. It looks like this. You can see it after the presentation. I'll put it there. It's written in Korean. And it's for grade 5 to 6. This is a textbook for our elementary school, and the middle school one is being developed, and a high school version is planned. Along with the Korea School Library Association curriculum, teacher librarians are actively developing authorized autonomous courses that are open for use nationwide. This brings us to where we are today. The current curriculum reflects today's information environment and connects different kinds of literacy across school levels. We are also beginning to see this work move into textbooks, courses, and classroom practice. There is still more things to do. More teaching materials are needed, and schools need more opportunities to use them. I hope this work will help school library education become a more established part of students' learning in Korea. Thank you.
Okay. Our third presenter is Tommy Kim. The title of presentation is Seoro Ieum Project, Powering Transformation in the Reading Ecosystem. This presentation will introduce the KSLA Seoro Ieum Project, a collaborative reading education project involving 162 teacher libraries, and show how their professional collaboration helps expanding the reading ecosystem. Please welcome Tommy Kim.
Hello everyone. My name is Tommy Kim from Recommended Book Committee of Korea School Librarian or Association. Also, I am currently working as middle school teacher librarian at Jeonbuk. Following the previous presentation, I am glad to introduce Seoro Ieum, a project led by our Korean teacher librarian since 2020. At its heart, this presentation is not merely showcasing we created this recommendation list. Rather, it is a record of practice showing how Korean teacher librarians voluntarily join the forces to build a professional learning community and how we strive to community to positive change in our reading ecosystem. The reading ecosystem we belong to consists of diverse actors, from young readers to teacher librarians, schools, bookstores, librarians, libraries, publishers, authors, and of course all of you, all organically interconnected. A healthy ecosystem is created when the role and needs of each actor are respected and form a virtuous cycle. The core language that connects and enables communication within this reading ecosystem is book review. We believe that when teacher librarians who work closest with young readers on the ground continuously communicate through the book reviews, we can bring practical and meaningful change to the reading ecosystem. Of course, today, AI and various platforms pull out countless book review and recommendation lists. However, a gap has always existed when using them directly as instructional materials in classroom and or school libraries where we meet young readers. They simply lack the vivid context of the field. So, we asked ourselves, why don't we use our daily hands-on experiences with students to directly create practical reading education content that our schools truly need? This was the beginning of the Soroium project. The name Soroium carries two meanings. First, it means connecting each other, the core actors of the reading ecosystem. Second, using the character 서, meaning book, it means connecting through books. Building a strong reading community through book reviews, going beyond just providing a book information. This is why we started this project. How then has this beginning translated into concrete practice over the past 6 project cycles? Soroium is not a one-off event. It is a long-term project created over an annual cycle by teacher librarians nationwide, who gather voluntarily each year. Since its launch in 2020, a total of 162 teacher librarians have served as reviewers, accumulating 434 in-depth book reviews across 6 published volumes. In fact, 3 of these volumes were officially published in collaboration with a local publisher. I brought the physical book today, so feel free to take a look after this presentation. The architecture of this book review volume is structured multidimensionally for immediate classroom use. Tailored to students' developmental stages, books are divided into 4 school levels: lower elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school, and categorized into 4 subject areas: literature, humanities and social sciences, natural sciences, and arts, to support balanced reading. Looking inside the review, it goes far beyond the simple plot summaries, recommended ages, and catchy review titles, and searchable hashtags are standard. Beyond that, it integrates national curriculum standards for direct lesson connections, related running materials, and inquiry questions to drive deep discussions. It is practical reading content created through continuous workshop, discussions, writing, and peer feedback among teacher librarians nationwide. Technologies like AI and recommendation algorithms analyze reader data to suggest books quickly. However, technologies cannot read emotional context, the moment of hesitation, the small change of a young reader's eyes, or the feeling that surface they engage with a book. Teacher librarians, on the other hand, observe this living context daily, interacting directly with students in school libraries and classrooms. We witness where students get stuck, which questions spark their eyes, and how a single book helps them grow in real life. This gives us a unique field testing knowledge that cannot be quantified by data alone. Thus, a teacher librarian's book review goes beyond simple plot summaries or star ratings. It captures authentic student responses and provides practical insights into how a book can be applied. And with this field testing knowledge, the Seoro review collection served as a reliable information when curating and recommending books for young readers. The reading ecosystem is an organic network where books, authors, reviews, and readers continuously exchange feedback. When teacher librarians engage this network as professional reviewers, good books with good reviews to reach more readers, and those readers grow to sustain a culture of reading in a virtuous cycle. This sustainable reading ecosystem is the ultimate goal of KSLA's practical solidarity. The 서로이음 project represents a practical model within the reading ecosystem, created through the voluntary solidarity of field teacher librarians centered around KSLA. Moving forward, we will continue our efforts to bridge books, people, and schools. So teacher librarians can stand as a reliable source of information, firmly supporting one of the key pillars of the reading ecosystem. Thank you for your time and attention today. Thank you.
Okay, today we will hear about 3 important aspects of school libraries in Korea. This presentation has shown that school libraries are more than places that provide books. They are educational spaces that connect policy, curriculum, reading and information literacy, and professional collaboration to support students' learning. I hope today's presentations have given you some useful ideas and perspectives on the role of school libraries.